In the age of social justice, parents are incredibly challenged to raise morally upstanding children with good values, even more so for conservative children. But imagine if you are a parent and you are setting your child up for failure because rather than having them look at the world through the lens of a moral compass and godly values, you're telling them that they cannot succeed, that they cannot have a good life. And so, therefore, it's okay to riot and steal and loot and have these morally decadent ideologies that only turn the world against them because they cannot actually live in a civilized society. This is an excellent, excellent discussion on how Stephen Miller's parents raised him. Have a listen.
Stephen Miller, before we say goodnight, you've been politically active for a long time. I think when you were even in maybe grade school or junior high school, and you've never
True.
been a conformist. You have never gone with the prevailing view. If you're in a liberal enclave, whether it's your high school or college or elsewhere, and it's kind of extraordinary. I mean, you were on Duke's campus, I think, when everybody was hysterical about the Duke lacrosse case, and you went on national television saying, hey, these guys are innocent. It's kind of amazing. I remember you from those days. What is it about what your parents gave you? How did you become so independent in the best possible way? Not in a maverick way. You're not independent for the sake of being independent, but you always seem to be on the right side. I hope that makes sense. There's something kind of unique about you.
It makes perfect sense. I'm really humbled by your confidence and kind words, and it's very touching. So thank you. I guess I would say that, I grew up in the crucible of leftism in Santa Monica, California, the most liberal part of Los Angeles. And so everybody around me all the time growing up was a radical liberal or a radical leftist. Now, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. But if your parents raise you with the right values as my parents did, I'm not even talking about politics. I'm talking about having backbone, having moral strength, having clarity, standing up for what you believe. That's what my parents always taught me, is always stand up for what you believe when you know you're right. And so the experience of seeing this disordered world that I grew up in Los Angeles, seeing how fundamentally broken and corrupt leftism was, I think taught me from the age of 5 on what made sense in this world, what was right and what was wrong and what were lies and what was truth. So, by the time I got to Duke University, is that example that you mentioned, when I saw the left creating this massive race hoax over the Duke rape allegations, which are, of course, completely bogus and have been they've now been fully and finally exonerated, I understood what a left-wing op looks like. I understood how the left-wing race hustling movement works. And I just say, to answer your question at the end of the day, advice for everyone listening is, when you're raising your children, I've got 3 young children now, more important than teaching them about politics, more important than teaching them about ideology, is teaching them a moral code, a moral compass. And that when people try to pressure you or try to intimidate you or try to sway you from the course you know is right, that is when you know you have to lean in even more and fight even harder. And the reason why I knew that Donald Trump was going to be the man who saves America is no human being on the face of this green earth that stands up more for what he knows is right, no matter how many arrows they try and throw at him, than Donald Trump. I saw it in 2015, and I said, good Lord, there is a warrior, there is a champion, there is somebody that come after his business, his family, his reputation. He says, what more do you have? I'm going to fight even harder. I'm going to say the same thing, but I'm going to say it twice as often. I'm going to go twice as hard and twice as far. And now look where he is. That is the leader that America needs. When we face threats at home, threats abroad, all these forces that are trying to demolish this country, that are trying to demolish the birthright of our children, the only man in our political system strong enough to take that all on, you know his name, is Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. And with you at his side, he can't fail, and so many others, but you're a very important part of that team. I'm glad I asked you that question. I have 2 young children myself, 3 and 5. Many thanks, Stephen Miller, the incoming Chief of Staff for Policy and the the Homeland Security Advisor. Thank you, sir. To be continued, you bet.
Talk soon.
Well, have you noticed we're finding out a lot of things about a lot of people and a lot of matters lately? It says in the Bible that every secret will be made known. And the people are seeing things, and they're seeing the truth. People are being exposed, right? George Stephanopoulos, Liz Cheney, Gavin Newsom. I mean, we always knew that they weren't good, but now it's unmistakable to the world. Some of the things that are being exposed right now in the run-up to the inauguration, it really is wild, including dysfunctional government.